there, and welcome to the Leeds Staff Podcast. I am standing in for James today. My name is Darragh Cunningham, and I'm joined by Rocco Dean.
Hello.
And today we bring to you a very special guest in the form of Andrés Clavijo, football analyst in his own right, but most famously to Leeds fans, someone who we took to our hearts as Marcelo Bielsa's interpreter. Andreas, thank you very much for joining us on the podcast today. You're very welcome. How are you getting on?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here.
No, honestly, it's our absolute pleasure. Obviously, summertime is a great time. There's usually for other clubs a little bit of downtime, but Leeds there's always something to talk about. So we really appreciate having you on. We know we've tried to arrange this for a while. So obviously, look, Leeds fans would know you as Marcelo Bielsa's interpreter. I think we all took you to our hearts over that period of time, standing diligently by his side and interpreting his fine words for the Sky cameras and for all the other cameras around the world. I know people hang on to his every word, so that was a very high pressure job. But you're far more than an interpreter. You're actually a true football man from start to finish. You were telling us before we start recording you've been in Australia for the last couple of years and you've been working with Mark Jackson, and you're back in London right now. Do you want to just catch us up a little bit on what it is you're up to at the moment?
Well, yeah. So right now I'm actually back working in London. I'm working for a football agency, where I'm the head of football and I'm in charge of all football matters, mainly to do with scouting and working with players on an individual basis, which is something I learned whilst working with Marcelo. But yeah, the previous 2 years, I was out in Australia working for the Central Coast Mariners, where funnily enough, I ended up working with Mark Jackson again, where we crossed paths. And a couple of Leeds boys ended up down there, Ryan Edmondson and Alfie McCallum. And we actually did really well. We won the treble in Australia. It's never been done before. So yeah, it was a pretty successful time.
That's amazing. I never knew. I'm surprised I hadn't heard about that. What about your background then? How did you get into working in football?
Well, I mean, I guess I had every child's dream, which is to be a footballer. But when I realized I was never going to be good enough at university, I studied sports science, and through an internship there, I started working as a under-18s analyst at QPR. And then shortly after that, I went into a company called Football Radar, who own Notts County right now. And that's where my link to Marcelo actually begins, because someone in that company used to work with Marcelo when he was a manager of Chile. And yeah, it somehow got us together, and that's how the journey or the relationship started.
And so did you join Leeds when Bielsa started then? You were an analyst originally, is that right?
Yes, that's correct. So I was actually working with Marcelo prior to him going to Leeds. I started working with him when he was a manager before he started working at Lille. So I was working from afar doing, they would send me lots of different tasks, and slowly but surely I started to earn his trust. And I knew he was coming to Leeds probably 3-4 months before it was even announced, because I mean, I know famously he did all of the analysis of all the prior season's games, in which this was something I was involved in. I was around the whole time, but not in person. I only started going in person when the team got promoted to the Premier League, and that's when I officially joined the club.
I've got to jump in here. So a couple of questions here, because based on what you've just told us. So you're saying that you used to do a few jobs for him. Any chance you might have had any binoculars at any stage?
No. I've been asked that a million times, but no, that's another friend of mine. But no, unfortunately, I can't take credit for that.
Another question, I suppose, based purely on your answer there. You were saying obviously you were involved in the kind of some of the video analysis prior to Marcelo coming to the club. I mean, one of the big things that he did was recognise traits within players that Leeds fans and other managers just did not see. Like, nobody saw Calvin Phillips as a single pivot holding midfielder. I don't think people had the faith in the likes of Cooper that Marcelo had. Like Luke Ayling obviously shot to whole new levels. What was it you saw, particularly in those players? Well, maybe we'll focus on Calvin, given he was slightly a role change. Was there anything that specifically he picked out and said, that's why he can do that job?
Well, I think it's very interesting the way Marcelo works, and don't think you'll find many managers probably in world football who work in the same manner. And so we would have created video clips of every single player. I mean, for every single game they played that prior season. And so from looking at those videos, I think when you watch a game just in general by itself, you have 22 players that you're looking at, and the ball's constantly moving. So it's very difficult to focus on one particular player. So what Marcelo does is that he gets his analysts or the people that work with him to make individual videos of each player. And so he will focus solely on those players. And then when you find that once you might watch a game live and see something, but once you have actually watched that player's specific clips, everything in and out of possession, you'll find that there's a lot of things that you will miss. And so, yeah, this is how he finds it, because he takes the time to study everything, and he'll catch or see things that other people won't, just because of his sheer,
It's really interesting that, because, you know, in the olden days, I don't know if it's in the olden days, but it's the impression anyway, managers would only sign a player if they'd actually seen them play. You know, the eye test was, you know, all conquering basically. But Bielsa, I'm guessing he doesn't do that. He probably wouldn't even have time to, you know, fly to watch somebody playing in the flesh. And I guess, like, is he just solely relying on the video analysis then, you know, considering that you're seeing their every move anyway? Is that what he does, or will you go and watch players as well?
I think on occasion he would like to go and watch players live, but he just never gets the chance. So he mainly relies on the video, but the video is so extensive that it's almost as good as, well, if not better than actually watching the player live.
Well, I guess that brings us on to Rafinha, because apparently you had a little something to do with that, did you? Did you discover him?
I won't take credit for that.
But yeah, I did.
I knew I knew him very well, because prior to joining Leeds in the Premier League, I was working for this company called Football Radar, like I said, and I was a French league analyst. And so I watched every single game in France for maybe 3-4 years running. So that prior season to Rafinha joining, he was unbelievable for Rennes. So I can't really take credit for noticing him. If you're a scout and you watch the French league, he's a player that would have stood out. He was someone who I presented to the club, but I presented lots of French players, hence because of my previous job. But at the beginning of the window, when I suggested him, I was told, no, look, it's impossible. He's going to be too expensive, because he only joined Rennes the previous season for about the same price that he went to Leeds. So the fact that we were able to get him at the price that we did was phenomenal from Victor. But the actual story goes, because when I presented him, I was told, oh, he's too expensive. We were looking at another player in the French league, a left back, which I don't want to name. We've given them the video to Marcelo, and Marcelo's watched the video, and he's seen that particular player come up against Rafinha, and Rafinha absolutely destroyed this player. This player went on to play in the Premier League also. He destroyed this player, and I remember him calling me into his office, and he's like, "Who's this number 7? Like, why are we not looking at him?"
Amazing.
And then I explained the situation to him, and he reached out to Victor, and then Victor said to him, "No, look, impossible at this moment in time. It's going to be too expensive." But in the last couple of days of the window, for reasons that I still don't know, Rennes let him go for probably the same amount or even less than what they signed him.
18 million, yeah. I think they signed him for 17 and let him go for 18.
Yeah, it's crazy. And he had a great season for them, helped them qualify for the Champions League. So, yeah.
And famously,
it's impossible to get your head around.
He also likes fish and chips, so that was a big draw, wasn't it? In fairness, Andreas, that sounds to me like you discovered him, so I'm going to give you the credit for that.
Oh yeah, it can be the headline for this video.
It's very similar to how we ended up with Masinga and Radaby, isn't it? Because when the scouts went to watch Masinga play, he came up against a centre-back called Lucas Radaby, who was absolutely brilliant. Okay. And they went, well, hang on a second. If we're taking Masinga, why don't we take that centre-back as well? And the rest is history.
Yeah.
There you go.
So moving into that Premier League season, and so that was your first season actually sort of on-site, working in person at the club. And Was that because of the translating gig, or was that, were you there anyway and you were just sort of asked to do the translating? How did that come about? Were you happy to do it?
Again, it's funny because, like I said, I moved to the UK when I was 5, and my parents actually never learned to speak English. Um, so I've been translating for them pretty much all my life. So it just so happened. I went in as an analyst, and around those days, well, in the first couple of weeks that I was there, Diego, the guy who was translating previously, left, and then they asked me, "Do you want to do the translation?" And I was like, "Oh, why not? I guess I'm the most qualified for it." So yeah, I kind of fell into it. It wasn't really part of the plan, but yeah.
Were you at all apprehensive about sort of being thrust into the limelight, especially like in the Premier League as well? Because it was also strange because we'd never. I mean, we had Salim in the first year,
Yeah.
but then the coaches just sort of stumbled through it in the second season, and it was a bit of a letdown for me because you never really got the same nuances, and I did wonder whether did you have to do any practice runs with Marcelo, or just you just went with it?
No, I just went with it. I guess, like I said, because on the staff, a lot of the staff was Spanish speaking, so I was pretty much the only one who was fluent in both languages, so it just made sense that I did it. But no, we never went through any run-throughs or anything. He would check if I was translating properly. He had someone specifically
Okay.
making sure that I was translating properly. So I guess I did a good job because I stayed on the whole time.
Well, I remember the first game at Anfield. You got a bollocking, didn't you? I felt for you.
Yeah, so did everybody else. But I mean, he was more angry at the presenter than myself.
Okay.
It's because you can't see what's going on behind the camera, but because we were quite far apart from the presenter, because obviously it was during COVID, the presenter kept on doing this with his ear, like he couldn't hear us, and so Marcelo was getting frustrated, and he told me, well, speak up, basically.
Okay. Yeah, but it was an unbelievable season. It must have, been a thrill for you guys. I know, obviously, it was behind closed doors, but the squad did so well. Bielsa never publicly set any targets, but I mean, I guess getting into the top half exceeded most people's expectations.
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, to have the season that we did, playing the football that we did, the fact that we didn't make too many signings, it was just incredible. The fact that a team can come up and basically play toe to toe with absolutely everyone. I mean, we beat Man City. Well, we took 4 points from Man City. We should have beat them at home, to be fair. So yeah, it was an incredible season and unforgettable. I mean, for us, but also I guess for everyone around the club.
You must have been the crest of a wave at all times, because I think for the first time in Leeds history, Dirty Leeds, the hated Leeds United Football Club, became everyone's second favourite club.
Yeah.
Like, the football we were playing was just incredible. The atmosphere around the club was incredible. It must have been brilliant just living in the city and just being part of that. Imagine everywhere you went, people would see you with your Leeds gear on and ask you questions about it and just, ride that crest of a wave.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. It's a great place. I have only good memories from Leeds. Everybody treated me so well. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, I didn't go out too much. We worked a lot, so there wasn't really too much time to go out around the city. But the very few times that I did get to go around, everyone was amazing, to be honest. I'm very, very thankful for how everyone treated me.
So like the points total we got, I think it was like 59. It was very, very close from getting into Europe itself. And I mean, I wrote a book about the season, and in at the back I include a quote from each of the opposition managers from after the game against Leeds, the first game against Leeds, and like the some of the quotes are incredible. Every single manager like fully respected what Leeds were doing. Apart from Sam Allardyce, actually, funnily enough. But then obviously the next season, we found it to be very, very difficult. The fans were back. We had a lot of injuries, obviously played a massive, massive part. But, from your point of view as an insider, I mean, did anything change? Is there any sort of idea in terms of what went wrong that season?
I guess everything just caught up with us. The injuries didn't help. COVID was still around a little bit, and the players were getting sick at unopportune times. The injuries was the biggest thing. I think I can't pinpoint anything specifically, but yeah, the fact that we missed Calvin and Patrick for such big periods of the season after what they had done the previous season, yeah, it was basically the catalyst for the downfall, I think.
Yeah, without Calvin, we were never ever the same. Even in the championship, I think we sort of muddled through in the matches that he missed. And I mean, right at the very beginning, before his first match, Bielsa was asked, like, who's the cover for Calvin? And he just said, it'll be better if Calvin plays every game. And, that was the case. And, by the end, yeah, we obviously got in a bit of a rut. And yeah, the axe fell, which was, I mean, I think unbelievably harsh, especially with the players so close to coming back. I mean, was it a massive shock for you guys?
We kind of knew that it was coming. We felt it was harsh as ourselves, to be fair. I mean, had we lost the teams in and around us, then I'd understand. But I mean, we played Manchester United, Liverpool, Man City almost back to back, and I know the results weren't great. I mean, ultimately we played Tottenham in the game that we were sacked. But yeah, I feel like we were all waiting or hoping that we would get the opportunity to play those following games after that, because we knew these were the games that we needed to get points from. I mean, if we had got points against any of those, against the big guns, then obviously a massive bonus. But we thought that those games after that were the ones where we were actually targeting the points and where we believed we would have, well, we would have kept the team up here.
I think so. I think so too. I think 100%. And I think it's worth mentioning as well, as you said about the injuries. Those teams we played. I remember the team we went to Man City with. I think we had 9 established outfield players. And when I say established, like one of them was Gelhardt. I think maybe Leif Davis or someone. There's 2 absolute youth players in that team. Liverpool was exactly the same. I think if you were to put the side by side of the Man City team and the Liverpool team with the Leeds teams that played against them, in terms of the players that we had to put on the pitch. And no disrespect to those players, but they just weren't quite at that level. And then, as you say, there was a run of games thereafter where I think players were coming back as well from injury and bolstered the squad going into those games. So I've one of the darkest days, I'll be honest, when Bielsa was let go, for me, and particularly at the back of that Spurs defeat, because we actually played really well. And as I recall, Stuart Dallas should have scored a goal. I think he was about 40 yards out with an open goal, and he just refused to shoot. That, and I love Dallas. He probably went on to become my favourite player at Leeds over recent times, with him and Pablo. But yes, there's a few slight differences, a few circumstances didn't go our way, leading to the harsh release.
Yeah, very, very unfortunate. I mean, at half time, I think we knew it was coming already. Obviously, I can't remember what the score was at half time, but we kind of expected it, and then that final whistle, we got called up and we got told. Yeah.
Such a weird atmosphere at the ground after that game. I mean, I'd actually been to Anfield a few days earlier, and my brother's a Liverpool fan, so I stood on the cop with him, and he got to 80 minutes and it was only 3-0, and I was like quite pleased. And then they scored a fourth, but like a couple of penalties, and I thought, well, 4-0, okay. And then they scored 2 in injury time, and I was crestfallen. But then after Spurs, it felt like we'd been relegated. And I remember Rafinha was inconsolable on the pitch. Spurs players were trying to console him and pick him up and stuff. So, I mean, I guess the players all knew. And, when you see that sort of reaction, normally, if the players have lost belief in a manager, not particularly lost the dressing room, but, lost belief and think a change might help, you don't really see that sort of reaction from them. So I don't know if the players are still on board. And you look at, like you say, the teams we'd played, but when all the teams in the relegation zone, we beat them every game that season. And we actually didn't concede many goals either, apart from against the big teams, the stuffings that we took. It just seemed such a short-sighted thing, but yeah, what can you say?
We felt the same way, but ultimately, what could you do? I mean, yeah, I think the players were still behind Marcelo 100%. The following day was a very emotional one. Where we went in to pick up our staff and we saw the players for the final time. And I'm sure you've heard some stories about it, but yeah, I mean, the players weren't particularly happy or that we were leaving.
Yeah, I remember like Jesse Marsh mentioned about what a tough job he had because he was coming into such a like distraught dressing room, and I think he didn't really frame it correctly, but yeah, basically everyone was obviously so shocked and gutted that well, and not just Bielsa, this is the other thing I said at the time, like we were losing a world class group of people working alongside him, and replacing him with Jesse Marsh, and like he didn't really have any staff either. I mean, it's a huge drop, but we don't need to go into Marsh and all that.
I can actually feel myself getting angry. I actually had to look down and try and calm myself because I want to try and be professional here. But you're right, Rocco. We didn't just lose Marcelo and his team. I think we lost a bit of our identity because I think Leeds fans were really proud of the club we had become under Marcelo. The fact that he was so honest in everything he did, the fact that he refused to blame the squad even for the fact that we had no squad, the fact that he refused to blame Victor or Andres or Andrea, sorry, not Andreas, it wasn't your fault, for not not recruiting properly. Like you look at Lewis O'Brien, who we fannied about with for a long time and never brought him in to give Bielsa the type of backup he needed. I think we lost a bit of our identity the day he walked out that door, and I think it probably only came back for me when Farke came in and showed a bit of integrity again. But that decision to let Marcelo and his team go at that Spurs game or after that Spurs game, we're still suffering the consequences of that as of today.
We're back in the Premier League, so hopefully we stay there this time around.
You said we.
Yeah.
He's Leeds.
Yes, I am Leeds now.
Do you watch all the games? Well, when you can, unless it clashes. Are you an avid supporter?
Yeah. I mean, I try to watch as many games as I can. Yeah, I'm a big supporter now. That's the only club I follow, to be fair. So,
who did you support before Leeds?
that doesn't matter.
Jesus, that's not the answer I wanted. I mean, like thinking about Leeds then and this season and the job that Farke's done, obviously he's done fantastically well, but like what are you thinking of the transfer window so far? I mean, do you know, I'm guessing you know more about the new signings than we do, so are you quite enthused?
Yeah, I am. I think look, it's been a steady transfer window. I know I've seen a lot of reaction because Sunderland are getting all of these players that are supposedly linked with us, but I think it's been a good transfer window. I think there's still a month to go, and yeah, I think it's been steady. I think we've recruited in the right positions, the positions that needed to be strengthened, and I'm sure there'll be a few more, or at least a couple more coming in. I think so far so good.
Any of the new lads that you know particularly well that you think will shine?
I'm a big fan of Stack. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. I think his skill set is very suited to the Premier League, so I think that's a very big sign. And I also really like the left back with Johnson, so Goodmanson, sorry.
Yeah,
I think he'll be exciting. I think he's a very good replacement for Junior.
Yeah, he looks really quick actually, and yeah, good pedigree. Had a really good career playing week in week out at Lille, hasn't he? So that's pretty impressive. Stack is he a bit like Click in his style?
No, I think he's more all action. I mean, I guess Click was more of an attacking player. I think Stack will contribute on both sides of the pitch. I think he's going to help the team be very solid. Very good on set pieces. I mean, we've recruited really well in terms of physical tool profile. So we should be dangerous from set pieces, and also defensively, it should help to shore up.
Click did actually have one good game in the defensive midfield role, which lured us all into a false sense of security with him, which was Aston Villa away, 3-0, Patrick Bamford.
Yeah.
Click was brilliant in that game. And then he tried to play that role again and he was off. It's like, no, you just keep going forward, mate.
Exactly. I mean, he's a wonderful player, but you don't want him in front of your back four.
We'd taken Strauch off after like 20 minutes in that game, hadn't we? Because he got booked for fouling Grealish. Yeah. And so he took him straight off because obviously Grealish would get anyone a yellow card if he could. So, inspired. Who's the next Rafinha? Have you got any names for us to sign?
And don't say Paixão.
That's the easy answer. Look, I haven't got any names for you. I'm not going to pretend. But look, I believe in the recruitment team that's there now, and I think Adam and his staff will find the right players. I think they've got off to a good start, and I'm pretty sure in these next couple of weeks there'll be some offensive recruitments, because I think obviously the back line, the goalkeeper, midfield's all been accounted for, and I guess it's just those forward positions where needs a little bit of strengthening.
Yeah. Have you been back to Ellen Road since you left?
Only once, actually, and it was on probably the most unfortunate day since the
relegation day. Oh God.
Well, it's just something about Spurs that just made you want to come back again.
Yeah, I haven't been back since though, but yeah, now that I'm back in the UK, I'm definitely going to get to a few games this year.
Get your name in the ballot for some away tickets for the London games as well. That'll be some experience for you.
Let's not get political, Rocco. Let's not get political. No, don't mention the ballot. Don't mention the ballot.
I hope to still have some friends so I don't have to go join the ballot.
Yeah, you probably still have a few. Dan James, you would have worked with him. He could sort you out with some tickets.
Yeah, hopefully. I'd have to message some of the boys, yeah.
Yeah. Nice. But so no more translating then? Is your translating career over? Stick to football?
I guess, well, in the club, when I went to work in Australia, although I'm not translating, because I'm bilingual, every time there is a Spanish-speaking players and they don't speak English, I always have to jump in. So I wouldn't say they're officially over, because I guess this is always useful, but we're looking to continue to progress.
Yeah, fair enough. And I should ask you actually, because we were talking before, and I sometimes forget, but for the listeners' benefit, you're still keeping in touch with Marcelo.
I mean, we don't keep in touch super often, but I'll message him on his birthday, and every now and then on important days, we'll send each other a message. We still have a very good relationship, so every now and then.
If we build a statue to Marcelo, what do you reckon the possibility is of just having you beside him?
No, definitely not. I don't deserve to be in his company.
Have you seen the Father's Day cards that they did with you and Marcelo on? Did you ever receive one?
My family members bought quite a few.
I'm not surprised.
Rocco, if you're done, I have a few rapid fire questions. I wouldn't mind firing. Yeah. Okay, so just a bit of fun here, Andreas. Can you tell us what was your favourite match at Leeds?
Oh, my favourite match. That's a good question. Probably that game against Man City away where I scored in the last minute. That was pretty special.
That was a great game. What about the worst match? And let's leave Spurs the Spurs but out of it.
The worst match, probably the Man City.
Who was the best player you worked with at Leeds?
Rafinha, no doubt.
And who was the most improved player at Leeds?
Oh, it's a good one. I think probably Pascal Stroke.
Good one. Our current vice captain and a man who's got 2 promotions under his belt at Leeds. Leeds legend, you might say. Two last 2 questions. Who do you reckon was the most underrated player in your time at Leeds?
Sure, no doubt. Actually, he might have been probably the most improved player, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was unbelievable. The change that he went through and the player that he became. I mean, he was already a good player, but how he evolved to play in all the different positions that he did, and how well he did in all of them was unbelievable.
Yeah, he was absolutely incredible, wasn't he? And deservedly won Player of the Year a couple of times. And then the last question for this rapid quick fire round is: would you pick anyone out as a future manager from that future Leeds manager, let's say?
Future Leeds manager from that group. Maybe Pablo Hernandez.
That'd be amazing.
In recent years, I think my love for Leeds literally goes, well, players is literally like Pablo number 1, Stuart Dallas number 2, and Dan James in there with Stuart equal. People in this pod will have heard me talk about them.
On top of being great players, they were great people too.
Yeah, which is really important for Leeds fans as well. I think that northern spirit, you've got to be the right type of person as well. Last question for me anyway. Now listen, this is a big one. It's perhaps career defining for yourself, but I think the fans really need to know. So we've got to get serious for a minute, Andres. Did you ever get Marcelo to say Ipswich properly?
I can't say I did it. Luckily, I didn't have the task of having to do so. They weren't in the Premier League, so we were.
You could be still there. Ipswich.
Brilliant. Great. Well, thanks for coming on, Andrés. It's been lovely to meet you. Lovely to chat about the good old days, as they were. No Leeds fan will ever forget it. And you were very much a big part of that, doing the very, very, very important job of translating Marcelo's wonderful wisdom. So thank you very much
for having me on.
Sorry, Andreas. Thanks a million for being on. Friend of the pod. We'd love to have you on again sometime.
No, for sure. Thank you very much for having me on, and it's a pleasure to meet you both. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So today's episode is also sponsored by Bass and Bly. So for all your camera needs, please check into bassandbly.co.uk or 6 Beulah Street in Harrogate. From everyone here at Leeds, thanks again, Andreas, and see you soon. All the best, guys. Leeds.